Hey y'all, hey. I'm doing some things while I talk to you guys, but I did want to talk about, coming out green, being free. In those of us in the Canna community who are watching, watching, watching people that we love die, and knowing that we're going to have to do it again and again and again. And it's not even just because the people don't have access, and it's not even just because it's still illegal some places. It's literally because the colonization has been so effective. Cognitive dissonance runs so deep. My hempwick is in the bedroom and Mr. is napping right now, grieving. And I've been wanting to talk about this a long time, but I didn't want to put any juju in the energy in the air because I'm a very powerful entity. I don't know if you knew that yet. If you're new, maybe I'll make it 2 separate videos, because maybe I'll do the coming out green video for YouTube, and maybe I'll do the grieving video. I was working with one of my elevators. We had a conversation when he was first venturing into using cannabis, and we were talking about, I think I walked through, you know, you can't walk anyone through the process of them coming out to the people they love. You can't even necessarily encourage someone. It's kind of like, it's like coming out, you know, it's a personal decision, and you're only ready when you're ready. And just because somebody says, that's crazy, it don't matter what they think. You know, you do what you do, and you grown, and it's that goes in the big long list of things that are easier said than done, right? Because you may have people that you depend on, and it may not be financially, it may not be for a place to live, it may not be your parents. You're living in their house, and you know you can't use cannabis and be in their house because they think it's drugs, which is crazy, because you could be a stone cold alcoholic and nobody would have these ideas about you, right? But you know, the war on drugs was a success. Anyway, as we talked, I know it's a personal decision. Well, it's such a personal decision that you can't assure anyone that everything is going to be fine. So I didn't, you know, you don't know everything is going to be fine. Maybe my relatives are so extreme that that's going to be the end of your relationship with them when you tell them that. And if that's not okay with you, which it would be with me, but if that's not okay with you, then of course you can't come out of it. You're not in a position where you can come out of the closet. It's like a lot of these people that we call coons and whatnot, and they're sellouts, right? But a lot of those people are doing what they need to do to maintain and feed their families. You know, relative, in the case of celebrities, they've become the person that pay for everybody's everything in all branches of the family. They can't just lose that source of income, so they have to shuck and jive, you know? As much trash as I talk, I know it seems like I don't understand that, but I totally do. I'm just not gonna stop talking shit about it because I mean, I don't care. It's morally beneath me. Now, the hypocrisy in that is, if they meet my sellout price, they will get me to shut up. They will get me to shut up trying to spread information and truth and making people conscious and to prioritize their own themselves and their wellness in their culture. I'll stop saying it. Now, I'm not going to go to other directions. I'm not going to Kanye y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to Kanye y'all. So they won't get me to sell out in the way of dancing a jig for them, but they can pay me enough to not talk as much. That's just what it is. I was raised in America and I'm still here. So, almighty dollar, right? This video is not about that. This video is about coming out green and being free. Now, particularly, I'll deal with the easiest first. The easiest is if you are an adult. Well, you're going to be an adult if you're listening to me, because you're not even allowed on the page if you're not. But I'll start with the easiest. If you're in a legal state as an adult, I'll say what it's easy to say. I don't know your plight and I don't know your relationship with your family, but that should make it a lot easier to come out green. Let's make it easy on everyone and use myself as an example, right? So one of the most resistant people in my family, when I told them I was going to be using cannabis for my wellness, I didn't expect rejection, because my family realizes that I don't give a fuck what they think. When I wasn't grown, as a young person, I don't give a fuck what you think. If I'm not doing anything to hurt anybody and I'm doing what I want to do, that's what's going to get done. And it's productive, make me a better person, it's going to get done. So I didn't care about that. In fact, it's in my character to go to other extent. And if I don't get a reaction, because I do shit for shock value. And I know it's not fair to use that as an example, because the whole point is you struggle with telling people who can't accept that cannabis is not villainous on some level. So I get that, but I'm making a point here. So when I told one of the most resistant people that I was going to be using cannabis, or that I was using cannabis for my personal wellness, I said, you should use it too. That gave me the platform to say, you should use it too, because since you know the rejection is going to happen, that actually takes all the spotlight off of you and what you've already established that you're going to do, what you've already established to them that you're going to do and why, right? So my next thing was knowing what the response would be. I already knew the response would be. I said, you should use it too. I was like, you know, that's the best treatment for glaucoma. Yeah, girl, I had that in my that one in my back pocket. I was like, that's the best treatment for glaucoma. Because this is a person that gets, you know, that goes and has a procedure done to have the pressure released in the back of their eyes, because we're talking about a glaucoma sufferer. So the person, of course, said, no, I don't do drugs, right? And you know, you would think that when these people, I don't mean that like white people mean when they say these people about black people. I'm talking about these people we love, okay? In our minds, because we know what it does, it seems unfathomable that someone would rather die than try it. But believe me, a lot of our elders have been conditioned such that they would rather die than try cannabis. A lot of our elders. I want to say most, but I know it just feels like most because the elders in my life are those people. If they ever come for me, I'm the only one that they gonna come from, because my family is not here for the drugs. And it's funny because the people that fight hardest against it are the people that have the most prescriptions lined up across the table to take every day. It's crazy it's crazy to us, right? To us. Because I'm talking to y'all, so I know I'm not alone in this. It's crazy to me. You're like, no, maybe they'll say everything. They'll be like, no, I don't do drugs. And they'll stick to that story. And if you find all kinds of ways around it, they'll say, okay, well, let me check with my doctor first. The doctor that told you to stay away from cannabis? The doctor that's a part of the organization, the American organization, that tells you that told you your whole life it was dangerous? The reason why you're resistant right now? That's the doctor you're gonna ask what they think about it? Doctor who gets paid more when you don't use it? Because you get to keep your array of prescriptions that they gave you to attack to attack all of the vitals in your body? Bro. I wonder if I should just have this conversation in the story time, because I have story times to accommodate all the scenarios I want to address. So what I was telling you about my client, I'm not here to lie for people, but I do need to be aware of how not to expose you if you're taking baby steps into cannabis wellness, and your family is not aware, and it hasn't been time for you to come out green. So I told him, does your wife know that you're going to try this? Because I need to know what to say if I talk to her. I don't know his wife for the record, but I know of her. And if for some reason, I just need to be prepared, right? I like to be prepared, because I pride myself in my tribe on protecting Black people's privacy, because I know when I was venturing into it, I didn't want anyone to know anything about anything, right? But it wasn't because I was insecure. It was more so because it was illegal. And because it was illegal, and I'm Black. And my husband's Black. I didn't want them setting my husband up but for some shit I was doing either. So I was protecting a brother as well. But I was very closed-mouthed, even beyond the time I had to be. Once it got decriminalized, I should have been comfortable being out. But I wasn't, because I'm Black. But then once it got legalized, right, I also should have been more comfortable with what I choose to do. You can be comfortable drinking yourself into unconsciousness every night if you want to. You can volunteer to go on record as a stone cold alcoholic, continue not to be clean, continue to be an alcoholic, and everyone will say, oh, well, it's a struggle. I can use cannabis for my literal full body and mind wellness. And people will look at me through a criminal lens, like, what the Anyway, I hope I edit this better than I'm actually doing. So I said, does your wife know that you're going to do this? And I had to coach him from a distance, because he didn't live in my state. But I don't want to, even though I don't know her, I don't want to lie to her, because I don't want to lie to even my client's family. So, but I'm clever, right? I know how to have the conversation, and I know how to talk in code where someone will understand and where someone won't understand. So the bottom line is, in order to continue to protect his privacy, if need be, I need to know how much your wife knows, your family knows about how far you intend to venture into this and at what stage. Not because it's my business, but because if I'm coaching you, I want to protect your privacy. I want to do whatever additional things on my end I need to do to keep you healthiest and make your Black life matter, basically. I guess what I'm getting to is, when he finally came out to his family and we had another consultation, he was just, the freedom in his tone and his spirit was cause to celebrate. I know when we both got off the phone, I know we were both low-key celebrating him being free. It's freedom. And I had my own sense of freedom where I experienced that, I guess, once it became legal, because then I didn't have a problem telling my family, because I wanted my family to know that my improvement in social participation at family gathering was completely due to cannabis. They needed to know that, because I think one of the things we do is we tell our families, well, I'm going to be using cannabis for my wellness, but you don't show them all the huge examples of change that have come to your life. You don't have to show them all, because it ain't their business. But especially for those who are resistant to it, show them the huge difference. Show them the huge difference. Because we're about to have a funeral. Of the relatives that were there when the person passed, one of them needed to take, well, everybody is on a medicine. Everybody except me and Mr. is on a prescriptions of some sort. And if you think about it, mostly everybody in your life is on a pharmaceutical prescription as well. And it has stopped at being for people 30. Remember when we were teenagers, we thought, you know, once you are 35 and up, you probably gonna have a prescription from the doctor. Well, 50 for sure, but maybe 35 if you kind of fell into some illness. You know, prescriptions are for older people. Who has prescriptions? But since then, we've got asthma, we've got childhood. They take adult, what we knew to be adult diseases. You know, you had the occasional young person with it, but there were so few that they had to call it childhood cancer, childhood leukemia, childhood epilepsy, childhood, you know, whatever, because there weren't very many children with it. But in this era, if you got it, you got it. If you're diabetic, you're diabetic. There weren't a bunch of young there were a few, but there weren't a bunch. You didn't have a bunch of fellow students in your class in elementary school who were diabetic and had to take insulin. Kids understand what that is now because so many of them have it. So many kids have asthma now. So many kids are autistic now. But not everybody's ready for that conversation. So my point is that I was so elated that he was now able to be free, because once you get in a space, and cannabis itself can help you get to that space where you don't really care what people think. And if you're genuine with it, people will notice. Oh, back to that point of the relative was going to go take her medicine or whatever. She's a 2-time breast cancer survivor. And her daughter on medication as well. She needs to take her to get something to eat so she could take her medicine. And so they invited us to go eat as well, you know, if anybody, you know, had medication they need to take. And I said, oh, I only use cannabis. And it was so comfortable to say because I'm not ashamed of it. And so I said, I only use cannabis. So I don't have to go rush and eat. And I need to rush and eat before I get hangry, you know, especially if we grieve in here. But I just looked at it and I was like, I just use cannabis, so I'm good. One started laughing, and the one that you would think would adopt that attitude of seeing me through criminal eyes, you know what she said? She looked over her eyeglasses at me and said, give me some. Now, I don't mind when people say that, because I know that I don't really have to worry about giving them any, because those are the people who will tell you in a minute, oh no, I don't want to use drugs. Okay, well, go get something in your belly so you can take the prescription prescriptions that you're on. But yeah, I guess at the end of the day, I'm still approaching different levels of freedom, because there are parts of the family that still may or may not know, but at least at this point, it's not because I was ashamed or needed to protect myself from them knowing, so that they don't run their mouth and then have me arrested accidentally. But as far as anybody just thinking I'm a pothead or whatever, because all the people that would look at me like that, they don't have lives as comfortable as I do. And when I say comfortable, I'm not remotely referring to money. I'm talking about health. I'm talking about good people in your life. I'm talking about prioritizing what's really priceless in life, and extending that life that you have contributed to maintaining as a priceless existence. Adam, why y'all didn't tell me that Dragon Ass song was on? Yeah, it's important to be free, and cannabis plays a role in that. It plays a role in all the good things, all the best things in life, you know. And nobody has time to babysit people through waking up right now. You know, all that shit everybody says about life is short. It really is short right now. And your elderliness, your age, and your health, whether you're volatile, is of no consequence to the shortness of life right now in America. You know, life is short for everyone. It only takes a week to get sick enough and die from the actual official virus of the pandemic. Takes less time than that for caring to call the police on you and for them to come and murder you. So, and either could happen at any age. So life really is short for everyone, and no one really has time for your trauma because they have their own traumas. And that's why I didn't tell anyone that Mr. Lost his dad. Everyone we ended up telling were people who asked first. Anyone I told is someone who asked first. And it'll probably be the same way with my family. Like, I'm not going to be the one to tell my relatives when I lose someone in my direct or immediate family. If they call and specifically ask me how that specific person is doing, that's when they'll find out. I'm not that chick. Cannabis has made me settled and conscious and okay with people who choose not to be. And I'm okay with them not being okay that I choose to be. Because the funny thing about consciousness is every time you speak truth to a person who is very unaware, who's fully colonized, steeped in cognitive dissonance, when you speak truth to them, they will respond as if you're trying to change their mind. And I'm just like, okay. I don't care that you believe some dumb shit. When I say shit as a result of me using my actual mind and it makes logical common sense, don't be mad at me. Are you mad at me? You mad at me because I choose to believe the virus is real and I wear a mask? You really mad about that? I don't get mad because you don't want to wear a mask, except for when you do it in the vicinity of others. But in your own vicinity, I'm not mad that you don't want to wear a mask. Shit, go to the beach. Go to a concert. Go to church. And then if you catch it and die, go to hell. I don't care. Like, you go wherever you want to go and do whatever you want to do, as long as it doesn't impose upon others. And so, like, me, even if I figured it was a fake or a hoax, I'd wear a mask. I'd wear a mask in public, as is the order of protection for human life. If I think it's bogus, I'll just bring my groceries home as usual and I won't disinfect them. I'll just put them in the cabinets like there is no virus, because I don't believe in it. That's what I'll do. But I will have worn a mask so as not to cause no big ass commotion, and also not to make people uncomfortable, or if what they happen to believe is right, even though I think it's bullshit, so that they don't get it from me if I'm asymptomatic for whatever bullshit they believe in. Because maybe they believe in their bullshit and it's true as far as they're concerned. And maybe whatever my cells are in my saliva will cause them to, maybe they're allergic to my sneeze and they'll react. I'm just gonna respect that. But we have cultivated and it by enabling supremacy. So here we are. So shout out to everybody. Shout out to all of you who are free and whose family knows. Not just to announce it, but they understand it. I want to say they're comfortable with it, but it doesn't matter if they're comfortable with it. But they understand it, and they also understand it doesn't make you. It actually makes you a better person. It actually does what you say that it does. Oh, and that's the point I was getting at. So the woman whose son took her to get something to eat so she could take her medicine. So when they came back from eating, her son brought the cannabis back up. Because I never really talk in the family when the family's together, but these were extenuating circumstances, so here we are talking, right? And so he brings the cannabis back up. And I was like, no, I'm not kidding. That's what I do. And so I was talking about when I started, because I never did when I was, I never did when I was young. I didn't tell them when I started. I told them the circumstances, and I did tell them that I was good and grown, because my whole childhood, they know I'm a PK, so I was conditioned against cannabis my whole life, obviously. And so, we told them about when I introduced the idea to Mr. and asked him what he thought about it, and we went ahead and started taking steps to use cannabis for my wellness. I still hadn't come out green just then because it was only decriminalized and not legal yet. But at which point it had become legal, I didn't really care. But they still didn't know because I don't talk to it. I don't talk to anyone. So the cousin was like, you know what? Now that you say that, I know exactly what you're talking about, because this person I'm talking to right now is completely different from anybody that we've ever seen at the house. Because we've never had this long of a conversation. So he was actually acknowledging that he is actually seeing a different human being than he has ever seen prior to this day. Because he hadn't seen me. He only remembers me pre-cannabis, and pre-cannabis, when the family came together, I would tuck myself in a motherfucking corner and not say anything to anybody and be good with it. Everybody knows I'm not offended. I don't feel left out. Matter of fact, I'm good in this corner, not saying anything to anybody. But let me know if y'all need help with anything. I'll be glad to help. We ain't finna have no extended chit chat about shit, but let me know if y'all need me. Otherwise, I'll be in this corner not saying shit to none of y'all. But after I started using cannabis for wellness, I would meditate before family events, and boy, I was the life of the party when they pulled me out of the corner. They still had to pull me out of the corner though. But when I was pulled out of the corner, it wasn't torture. It wasn't like, oh, I can't wait to get back in my corner. It's some bullshit. Now, when I meditate before attending a family event, I'm in the corner, right? Chilling in the corner, but I'm high. And so when someone pulls me out of the corner for whatever, maybe they need something, maybe they want me to help with something, boy, I am the life of the party. They don't want me to go back in the corner, but I'm going back. But they don't want me to go back in the corner because I am talking shit to people. I am inspiring people. I'm loving on people. I'm hating on people that need to be hated on. But in the most loving way. And I don't really care how to take it. And you'd be amazed at how well someone takes a good chastising and is accountable for it when you do it in the spirit that you don't really care if they get upset about it. Because cannabis will make you not care if they get upset about it. And without telling them you don't care, they'll know. You get upset if you want to. This is what it is. You ain't gonna be accountable for that. Really. You know that's some bullshit. And you just saying what the fuck is on your mind, and quit dancing around like America has taught us to dance around realness. And then people can't attack and resolve issues. Anyway, the point is, the cousin was, and I could see as he said what he said, I was like, okay, you know what's good. Now when anybody ever says something about something and they want to ask me if I want anything, or aspirin, you got a headache, you want an aspirin, I just use cannabis. And you know how when you part ways with your family, it'd be like, I hope you need to get yourself some rest. You're going to wear yourself out, And that's a common conversation amongst people in general. But if you use cannabis, I'm going to get some rest. I hope it does me some good. I hope I'm refreshed in the morning, because I might be still traumatized by whatever this particular dilemma. Maybe this one is pretty heavy. I'm dealing with it, but maybe this one is pretty heavy. But one thing I'm not going to do is lose sleep unless I willfully resisted using cannabis. I'm going to get some sleep. Might even think the dilemma over and work my way through it emotionally and be okay. And be okay with whatever. I don't have the capacity to change one way or another. Again, cannabis. Child, I'm not just helping you with these videos. I'm helping my own self. Because even to go back and to remember these phases or these processes by which I came to these awarenesses, this consciousness, it is a means by which to connect to Goddess, or if you're a male God. And when you're high and on that frequency, it doesn't even matter if it is God or Goddess, right? Equally powerful and beautiful, magnificent, in the real sense of the world. Like, word, I think magnificence shouldn't even be just a regular word, because magnificence should be revered for phenomenal feats that are not common. But I guess when you're exaggerating the wondrousness of something, then it's appropriate, right? Oh, I got my lighter because I gave my sister my hemp wick. Oh, I didn't tell y'all about they came to see us. They came to see us. It was the day before. It was the day before Mr. Mr.'s dad passed away. Let me turn this camera off and then tell you about that. And I still haven't done a video about having to watch people die, knowing that cannabis would have helped them extend them a much more functional life, maybe for at least a decade. I won't say at least, maybe for a good decade, maybe just a handful of years. But I feel like cannabis can like add a decade up to your life. I keep wanting to say at least a decade. Maybe God is like, no, it's just gonna add a decade to your life. God is just like, girl, it's different for different people. It depends on how good a person you are. I might help you out a little bit, but I might help you out a lot. But as cannabis, I'm gonna help you out. It's my duty to help you out. But depending on how good a person you are and what you put into the efforts. Because some people might use cannabis for their own betterment, and they just use cannabis. They don't do other things that cannabis inspires you to do. Like, cannabis inspires me to drink more water so I don't fucking dehydrate and burn my biological being inside out. It gives me the munchies, but what it does is make me make a conscious decision in what munchies I have. Sometimes it's trash. Absolute trash. I want to show you. Maybe it wasn't meant for me to bust myself out, but trash. But from that experience, cannabis also taught me that, guess what? Think about it. Everything that you eat is delicious, no matter what it is. So when you are going to meditate, have something within reach that is healthy, healthier than trash. Nuts, popcorn instead of chips. When my garden is popping, I'm gonna have tomatoes. I'm gonna have cucumbers. And I know what you're thinking. That sounds great and everything, girl, but ain't no way no cucumbers and tomatoes gonna be delicious. If you're new to the cannabis community, have you some munchies and let a tomato and cucumber be the only thing in easy reach. Have a salad sitting right there. See, won't that be the most delicious salad you ever had? So, yeah, even the side effects of cannabis are actually parenting me, basically. Teaching me to be better to myself. And it'll teach you to be better to yourself. And it will remind you that you're worthy of that type of respect in your black life. Yeah, your black life doesn't just matter. It's important. So prioritize it. I love you. Let me go check on Mr. What was I going to talk to you about?